I supported her through every meltdown. Then she subtweeted my secret smoking habit and made me the villain. Now I'm breaking my silence. 20 male, have been going through a lot these past days, and it's really taking a toll on everything. I usually don't reach out because I really don't want to be a burden to anyone, especially not to my friends, so I keep all my problems to myself. A little recap. I also started smoking, but I also didn't tell anyone about that. I kept it to myself, and I only did it when I'm alone. Some guys told me it can get rid of my problems, so I gave in and tried it out, and I guess you could say it did work, but only for a little while. Here's what happened. My best friend, 20 female, found out I've been smoking. And today I wasn't really feeling well and didn't want to talk to anyone and just couldn't wait till the day ended so I could go home. I didn't really ignore anyone, but it was clear that I also wasn't ready to start any conversation. When I got back home, I saw that my best friend posted something about "you think you're cool for doing all that." And I guess that hurt me because the person I've been supporting since the day we've met could say such words just because I did something they didn't like. And it's not like I did it in front of them either. So that's why right now I feel even worse than how I felt this morning, because not only she didn't tell me directly but posted it for everyone to see. I know that smoking is always bad and that there are zero health benefits taking it. I am aware of that. But am I wrong for feeling like this? For not reaching out to her and instead just coping by myself? I'd love to hear your unbiased opinions about this. That's the surface. That's the pretty version I could pay somewhere and pretend that's the whole thing. But the truth's messy, and way less flattering, and I'm tired of holding it like a lit match behind my back. I didn't wake up one morning and think, hey, I want to smell like an ashtray and hack up mucus. I slid into it because everything else felt louder than my own head, and I needed something to shut the door from the inside for 5 minutes. I'm not asking for a pat on the head. I know it's dumb. I know it's gross. I know what it did to my dad and his lungs, and the way his breath sounded like sandpaper when I was a kid. I know all that, and I still did it, which is the most honest and shitty sentence I can write about myself. The first time was 3 months ago behind the library, behind that brick wall that traps the wind and keeps the courtyard from hearing your private collapse. A couple dudes from my econ class were out there, flicking ash, laughing too loud about a quiz everyone bombed. I was stuck on this loop of, I'm fine, that was barely a whisper, like when you're holding a door closed with your foot and someone's ramming the other side. One of them offered me a cig like it was gum. I shook my head. He shrugged. Helps, he said, and there was this tiny kindness in it that I hadn't felt from anyone in a while. Stupid thing to put kindness on a cigarette, but I took one. I lit it wrong, burned my thumb, coughed like an idiot. They laughed. I mean, just normal. And then after 3 drags, my brain actually calmed down. Like someone turned down the volume on a blender and left a dull hum. Not happiness, not even comfort, just quiet. 5 minutes of quiet felt like a miracle, and I didn't have another miracle in me that day. So I chased that one. I kept it secret because I keep everything secret. That's my dumb superpower. Smile, carry people, drag your own shit to the curb at night when everyone's asleep. I'd smoke behind the maintenance sheds near the soccer field or the staircase outside the gym where the security light flickers. I never posted it, never did it in front of friends, never tried to look cool. I just needed something I could control when everything else felt like it was driving me. And then there's her. Let's call her M. We met freshman year when we both got lost looking for a psych lecture. She laughed at the wrong time, and I liked her immediately because it sounded like a real laugh, not the kind you plan. She's the kind of person who texts at 2:13 a.m. Are you awake? And if you say no, she'll call anyway. She cries easily and then gets mad that she cried. She keeps her keys in a lanyard like a freshman camp counselor. She likes when people think she's tough, and then she asks me to kill spiders. I've seen her at her worst. Makeup smeared from a panic attack after her mom called to say the dog died. Vomiting into a trash can at a party because she tried to keep up with people who don't care if she sees the morning. Shaking in the back of an Uber because her ex texted that he missed her and she needed to hear it out loud from someone else that he meant, I miss the way you forgave me for everything. I never wrote a post about her. I made tea and canceled my plans and sat on the floor with her until she stopped holding her breath like it was going to save her life. So when I say it stung, I want you to understand the arithmetic behind the sting. I didn't earn silence. I didn't buy immunity. But I did think that if anyone would walk around to the back of the building and say, "What the hell are you doing?" it would be her. Not the internet. Not a story. Not a subtweet with the subtlety of a brick. The day she posted it, I woke up heavy. That's the best word. Heavy everywhere, like I'd slept in wet clothes. I went through classes in a fog. Not rude, just not there. She waved at me outside the cafeteria, and I nodded and kept moving. I didn't owe anyone my performance of okay, and I didn't have it in me to fake. M texted, "You good?" I typed, "Yeah, just tired," and didn't send it. I put my phone face down and counted the tiles in the ceiling because counting felt like not drowning. On my way home, I saw her story. White text on black. "You think you're cool for doing all that?" No emojis. No names. But the timing, the phrasing, it was a bullet with my name scratched off of the coin. I stared at it until the story looped. Then I looked at the list of people who viewed it. Our mutuals. People whose opinions felt like gnats. Annoying when they buzz, stupid to care, impossible to ignore. Someone reacted with a laughing emoji. Someone else commented with a skull. It's stupid that digital punctuation can bruise your ribs. It did. I could have texted her. I could have called. I didn't. I shut my bedroom door, sat on the carpet, and lit one. Don't bother telling me how that sounds. I know how it sounds. I pulled smoke into my chest like it owed me something and stared at my ugly dresser and thought about how I had become all that. It made me angry in this clean way I hadn't felt in a while. Not the shapeless angry that just spins, the kind that picks a target and stands up straight. Why didn't you just ask me? I typed. I deleted it. I tried again. If that's about me, say it to my face. Deleted. I went outside and walked around the block because I couldn't sit and do nothing. Every step I took, I scraped up another memory where I'd been her safety net. The time she texted me from a bathroom stall because she thought she might be pregnant, and I left work early to buy tests and sit on the tile with her while she breathed and joked about naming a kid tax credit. The night she called me from a parking lot at 1 a.m. because she locked her keys in the car and her hand was shaking too hard to call a tow truck. The paper I basically wrote for her when she had the flu and 3 deadlines and an ego about asking the professor for an extension. If I posted about her worst moments to send a message, she would call it what it is, a betrayal. I sent one message finally. Is that about me? No punctuación. It felt less like begging that way. She opened it. I saw the typing bubble. It disappeared, then came back, then disappeared, then, if the shoe fits. That was it. 3 words that made my jaw clench so hard my temple throbbed. It's theatrical how we hurt the people who know us. We bring out our best one-liners for the people who do our laundry when we fall apart. I'm not a fucking prop for your performative concern, I wrote. She responded, I'm concerned because I love you and you're being dumb. That word, dumb, landed like spit. Then call me. I sent, don't blast me. She left me on read. I didn't sleep much. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that sentence. You think you're cool for doing all that, like it was tattooed on the inside of my eyelids. The next morning, I walked into campus like a man walking into a room after a fight, measuring faces for what they knew. People always know when there's gossip, even if they couldn't pass a test on it. In the group chat, someone sent a meme of a skeleton smoking with Jay under it. And didn't react. I closed the app and stuck my phone in my pocket like a hot stone. At noon, I saw her outside the library. She was with 2 friends, laughing at nothing, performing unbothered. That's her defense. If she's loud enough, maybe no one hears the break. I walked straight to her because putting it off would rot me from the inside. Can we talk? I said. She locked eyes with me, and I watched the shield drop over her face. I'm busy, she said. You're standing, I said. We can talk for 2 minutes. The friends stared like they were watching a stray dog wander into a restaurant. She stepped to the side. Okay, talk, she said. That tone, teacher waiting for a stupid student to finish, pushed a button in me. That post, I said. Say it to me. She crossed her arms. You're smoking, she said. You don't even talk to me. She did a little hand wave like chasing a fly. And then you act like I'm the problem for saying anything. You didn't say anything, I said. You wrote an announcement so strangers could clap. She shook her head. I didn't name you. Everyone knew. I said. You knew they would. That's why you did it. Or maybe, she said, voice rising, I did it because my dad used to disappear behind a cigarette instead of talking, and I watched him do that until we had to put him in a fucking hospital with oxygen tubes up his nose. Maybe watching you slide into the same stupid shit makes me scared and angry, and maybe I don't owe you perfect delivery when I'm scared. I didn't expect that. I knew her dad smoked. I knew it in the way, trivia about a person you love. But I didn't know it pressed this hard on her. For a second, just a second, I pictured her as a kid watching someone choose a lighter over her. My anger hiccuped. Then it regrouped. You know what my dad did? I said. He coughed up blood and called it allergies until I turned 13 and started emptying ashtrays because I hated the smell more than math. I'm not smoking to hurt you. I'm smoking because I don't have another off switch right now. And you don't get to make a spectacle of me because you decided my choices are a performance for your trauma. So, it's my trauma now, she said, sarcasm dripping. Got it. Everything's your trauma when it's convenient, I said, instantly hating how petty that sounded and also not taking it back. We stood there breathing fast, two people who had seen each other cry publicly, now arguing about a sentence that could have been a text. Her friend leaned in and stage whispered, Do you guys want us to go? Em snapped. No, she turned back to me. I'm not apologizing for caring. I'm not asking you to, I said. I'm asking you to give a shit more about me than about your followers. My followers are my friends, she said. I'm your friend, I said low. I was your friend before you had followers. That landed. She looked away first. You're being dramatic, she said, voice smaller. I swallowed everything I wanted to say about how she's the one who posted a monologue. The silence stretched between us until it felt like a rope. Okay, I said finally. I'm going to go. She didn't stop me. She didn't reach out. I walked away convinced weed said the worst versions of true things, and you can't unsay those. That afternoon, I threw my pack in the trash by the bus stop. It was a dumb cinematic gesture, and I knew I'd regret it in an hour. I did. At 9 p.m., I walked 2 blocks out of my way to a different gas station so the clerk who smiles at me wouldn't see me backslide. That's addiction in a sentence. You think the anonymity of your relapse is a moral victory. I sat on the curb behind a laundromat with a new pack like someone who never learns. The first drag tasted like cardboard and chemicals and shame. My roommate noticed the smell later. Dude, are you smoking now? He said, nose wrinkling. You know that shit gives you wrinkles. I barked a laugh that didn't have any humor in it. Good, I said. Then my outside will match my inside. He made a face. Okay, hot topic. Just don't do it in the room. I didn't tell my mom because she would hear my grandfather dying in my every breath. I didn't tell my sister because she would tell my mom. I didn't tell him because we weren't speaking unless you count staring at each other like mirrors. For the next week, my phone became a machine that made me feel worse. And posted 2 more vague things. Some people love self-destruction because it lets them be the victim. And if you can't be honest with me, don't be around me. If you've ever been subtweeted by someone you love, you know the specific humiliating cocktail of rage and craving it gives you. You want to clap back with a paragraph that will make them feel as small as you feel. You want to violate a secret they gave you and call it justice. I typed those paragraphs. I hovered over post. Then I deleted them because once you break that dam, nothing you say has clean water in it ever again. Mutual friends watched like it was a show. One of them, B, sent me a screenshot of the group chat without my name at the top, classy. M had written, I'm not trying to attack him. Someone else said, he's being an ass. Another friend, L, wrote, y'all, maybe don't debate this here. M reacted to that with a heart. B added a caption to me, just so you know where people are at. It was meant as kindness and it felt like sticking my hand in a blender. I didn't answer. That Friday, I ended up at the back steps near the gym again because humans are routines wearing shoes. There's this maintenance guy who takes his smoke breaks there sometimes Late 40s maybe, gray at the temples, hands that look like he knows how to fix loud things. He nodded at me like men do when they don't want to talk, but recognize another human. We smoked in the same silence for a minute. Then he said, without looking at me, "You're too young to make it look like it's already over." I let out a messy sound that was half laugh, half cough. "Thanks, Hallmark." He flicked ash. My ex used to post about me like I was a weather pattern. Here comes a storm and shit. It made me worse. He glanced at me. People think shame is medicine. It's usually just gasoline. He didn't ask for details. He didn't need to. He finished his cigarette, crushed it on the step, and went back to work. The echo of that sentence, shame is gasoline, followed me like a smell. The next morning, M texted, "Can we talk?" I stared at it so long my eyes ached. "I don't know," I typed. "I sent it." She replied, "Please." We met on the benches by the duck pond, where freshmen take their parents on campus tour day to pretend this is a place where people reflect instead of where intro to bio breaks you. She sat down, legs crossed, hoodie sleeves pulled over her hands like a kid. I sat at the far end because I didn't trust myself not to say something cutting if I felt her shoulder touch mine. We stared at the ducks like they were going to translate for us. "I shouldn't have posted that," she said first. It jolted me. I prepared for war, not for disarmament. I was angry, she went on, and scared, and I wanted other people to make me feel right because I didn't feel right. She dug her fingers into her sleeves. "I am sorry, Jay." Hearing sorry made something unclench in my chest and made room for another thing. All the other words we still hadn't said. "I hate that you did it," I said. "It made me feel small." She nodded. "I get that. But I'm also," I said, each word careful, "a mess right now. Not the fun kind. The kind that makes you avoid me at lunch. I don't want to be a PSA for anyone. And I don't know how to stop needing something that turns my brain down. I don't want you to die," she said, voice breaking on the last word like it hurt. "I know that sounds dramatic. I watch my dad choose it every day. He'd promise he'd quit, and then he'd just one more, until we kept a calendar of lies on the fridge. I was 12, and my little brother would put gold stars on the days he didn't smoke. He'd give my brother the empty pack and say throw it out like it was a game. And then he'd ask me, quietly, if I knew where he left his stash. I learned to hate the sound of a lighter. "I just can't," she swallowed. "I can't watch you walk into that and say nothing." I rubbed my face. "I'm not your dad." "I know," she said quickly. "I know that. I know you're not responsible for what I saw. I know it. I explained it badly and punished you for it. I'm trying to say I'm sorry for the way I said it. Not for wanting you to be okay. We sat with that. I'm trying," I said finally. I threw a pack away. I bought another. "I'm not going to lie to you." "Thank you," she said. And there it was, relief like I had given her something she could hold. Do you want help?" "I don't know," I said. "I don't even know what help looks like without it turning into a project where I'm the assignment." She smiled, tired. "I can only do the part where I'm not a jerk," which clearly is a big ask. It should have felt like reconciliation. In the movies, that's the scene where we hug and the score swells. In real life, I walked away feeling like someone had sorted my mess into labeled bins. Sorry, scared, still addicted. That night, I didn't smoke. The next morning, I did. Truth has no appetite for our montage fantasies. We try to be normal. It was worse. Every time I chewed gum or put my hands in my pockets, I could feel her bracing, watching me like you watch a glass on the edge of a table. And when she stopped watching, my resentment flared because I decided her vigilance meant love and anything less meant abandonment. That's how addicts think. If you don't train your attention on me, you don't care. If you do, you're smothering me. A week later, after a brutal exam, I smoked behind the art building and felt like my bones were unclenching one by one. When I got home, Emmett texted, "You good?" I didn't answer because I knew my breath would betray me if she called. She posted a photo of her iced coffee with small joys. I should have liked it. I stared at it like it was a dare. At midnight, she texted, "I smelled it on you earlier." I typed, "I know." She replied, "I don't know if I can do this." I stared at that for 10 solid minutes that felt like standing in rain. Then don't. I wrote because I'm an idiot who speaks in ultimatums when I'm scared. She didn't reply. 2 days later, I woke up to a news story, a screenshot of some quote about boundaries. Something like, if someone keeps crossing your boundaries, it's not a mistake, it's a decision. I felt heat rise up my neck. She didn't say my name. She didn't need to. I reacted with a thumbs up because if I was going to be a character in her morality play, I might as well heckle from the audience. She DM'd me, "Grow up." I said, "Look who's talking." We were back in the pinball machine, bouncing off the same bumpers. Here's the part where I look bad. I started composing a thread in my head, outing all the ways she's been sloppy with her own coping. The way she drinks until she blackouts sometimes and then calls it girl dinner. The way she drove home once when she shouldn't have, and I took her keys for a week. The way she texts the ex she swore she blocked whenever it rains because she's decided rain is an omen. I wrote paragraphs in my notes app. I edited them for maximum moral superiority. I picture the likes. I pictured the people who DM me. OMG, she's always doing this. And then I pictured her face the minute she realized what I did, the way her mouth would tremble before she stopped it, and I couldn't post them. Not because I'm noble, because I know how betrayal echoes. I didn't want to watch it echo in her. Instead, I did something I hate. I called the campus counseling office. I sat in a chair that smelled like old coffee and read a poster about coping skills and tried not to bolt. The counselor was a woman in her 30s with hair that seemed too shiny for a job that involves listening to people collapse. I told her I was fine. She smiled like she'd heard 100 versions of that. I told her I was smoking. I told her about him. I told her about my dad and the sound of lighters and the way my heart speed walks when my phone vibrates now. She said, "So you're carrying your stuff and her stuff." It sounded too simple. I wanted something more complicated to justify my chaos. "What if you put some of it down?" she said. "What if her fear belongs to her and your coping belongs to you and you don't try to solve both at once?" I didn't say it out loud, but I thought, what if that means we don't belong to each other anymore? I left with a list of suggestions that felt like chores. Nicotine gum, breathing exercises that made me dizzy, writing down urges like I was going to grade them. But the worst one was the best one. Tell the people in your life what you need. Tell them what you actually want from her when this comes up, the counselor said. Tell her the sentence you want to hear when you've smoked and you're ashamed. The sentence in my head sounded pathetic. I still love you. But the honest one was smaller. Thanks for telling me. I texted him, "Can we try again? I'm at counseling. It's not dramatic. It sucks." She answered fast, like she'd been waiting against her will. "Okay." We met in the student union. This time was less charged, or we were both tired of bleeding. "I'm not good at this," I said. The part where I say what I need. "It feels like asking for dessert I don't deserve." She chewed on her sleeve again. "You can ask," she said. "I can say no. That's how that's supposed to work. We don't have to stage it online." I nodded. "Okay, when I mess up, when I smoke. I don't want a speech. I know the speech. I've given the speech to myself since I was 10. What I want is, I want you to say thanks for telling me and maybe ask if I want to walk or sit or do something with my hands so I don't feel the urge to go outside again. And if I tell you I didn't, I want you to say, okay, so what now instead of your choosing death?" She nodded slowly. "I can try that. Can you do something too?" I said yes before she said it, which is how I end up in messes. "Can you not lie to me?" she said, not soft. "Not by omission. If you smoke and I ask, don't make me sniff your hoodie and play detective. I don't want to police you. I also won't be in a relationship, friendship, with someone who turns me into a cop." I wanted to say, "But I only lied so you wouldn't be mad," which is the kind of sentence that should set off alarm bells in your own head. Instead, I nodded. Okay. We were both making promises we weren't sure we could keep. But this time they were small and real and not for anyone else's consumption. For a couple of weeks, it worked like a truce. I slipped. I told her. She said, "Thanks for telling me." We walked laps around the track. I chewed gum until my jaw hurt. She slipped too, in her own way, texting the ex at midnight, deleting it, crying on my shoulder about being an idiot. And I said, "Thanks for telling me." And we watched a dumb baking show where all the cakes look like babies, and it's disturbing. We were two bags of bones, trying to be gentle with each other's stupid hearts. Then midterms hit like a truck. Sleep went weird. Meals became events I forgot to attend. I found myself outside with a lighter in my hand like I'd teleported there. I inhaled and felt that old hum, the quiet, and I thought, I'll tell her. I'll tell her after this one. I didn't. Not that day. Not the next. I told myself I was protecting the truce. Really, I was protecting my 5 minutes of quiet from comment. On the third day, she hugged me in the hallway and froze. "You smell like it," she said into my shoulder. I stepped back. "Yeah." She closed her eyes. "When?" I looked at my shoes. "Yesterday and today." She nodded. "Thanks for telling me," she said, voice flat as paper. "Do you want to walk?" "Not right now," I said. "I have a lab." She nodded again. "Okay." The word was a door closing slowly. That night, she posted a picture of the moon with the caption, "Breaking your own rules is still breaking a rule." I read it and felt that electric threat under my skin. I wanted to say, we didn't make a rule about not posting the moon. Instead, I put my phone face down and stared at the ceiling and felt the flicker of panic that makes people do dumb things. I got up. I went outside. I lit one. Halfway through, I heard her voice. "You said you'd tell me." She was there, hoodie up, eyes shiny. I froze with the cigarette between my fingers like a kid caught with a stolen cookie. It's humiliating to be witnessed in your worst smallness. She looked at me not like a judge, but like someone who recognizes the crime because she's committed it in other forms. "I can't do this," she said again softly. "I can't wait for you to tell me the truth, like it's a prize I might win if I behave." She didn't yell. She didn't post. She just looked tired. "I'm going to back up," she said. "I love you. I'm going to back up. Don't make me your dad." I said, desperate. "I'm not making you anything," she said. "I'm letting go of the rope before we both fall." She left. I finished it because shame is gasoline and I was on fire anyway. If the story ends there, Am is the villain and I'm the tragic idiot and the internet knows what to do with both. But real life is so boring in its complications. The next day, she sent me a voice memo. Her voice shook and it made my ribs ache. "I'm sorry I posted that first thing," she said. "I know we already said this. I hate that I did that. I hate that I made you look small. I hate that I needed other people to clap for my concern like it meant anything. I'm stepping back, not to punish you, to stop punishing me. I think we'll be okay later. I hope so. But right now, when I smell it on you, I am not gentle. And you need gentleness, and so do I. Please take care of yourself." I listened to it 3 times, then once more, because I'm a glutton for pain wrapped in love. I haven't smoked in 6 days as I write this. That sentence feels like a science project. Observable, repeatable, could fail at any moment. I'm not proud. I'm not ashamed. I'm carrying it. I chew gum like it owes me rent. I walk at weird hours. I call the counseling office when my nerves feel like they're wearing tiny shoes and running laps under my skin. I try to tell the truth faster than I get caught. I texted Em yesterday, day 5. She sent a green heart. Today I didn't text her at all because I don't want our friendship to become a parole check-in. Do I miss her? It's a stupid question. She's not dead. She's at the other end of campus making coffee too strong and forgetting her headphones at home. But I miss the way we used to sit on the floor and make a mess of our feelings without worrying about the camera. I miss when you good meant, "Do you want me to bring chips or ice cream?" I miss the version of me who thought being the strong one meant never letting anyone see me choose a dumb thing on purpose. And yeah, I know smoking is bad. People love to say that like it's a revelation. I know it's a shitty bandage on a wound that needs stitches. I know it scared her, not because she's controlling, but because she's 20 and everything still feels fixable until it isn't. I also know that shame doesn't make people quit. It just makes them hide. I learned that in the most expensive classroom available, the inside of my body. If you're reading this and drafting your TED Talk, save it. I'm not a campaign. I'm one guy who made a choice that makes my breath worse, and my mom would cry if she knew. I'm also a friend who expected privacy from someone I'd sit in hell for. I felt humiliated by something that didn't have my name on it, because intimacy puts your name on everything, visible or not. I'm not asking who's right. There isn't a winner here. They're just me in a hoodie at 3 a.m. trying not to go outside because the night air still smells like relief. Am I wrong for feeling hurt? No, I don't think so. Hurt is a reflex when someone opens a door and yells your secrets into the hallway. Am I wrong for not calling her before I reached for the lighter? Maybe. Probably. I don't know. I don't have a clean ending for this. I'm trying to build one cigarette less minute at a time. I'm trying to listen when people say, I love you, and not hear, I will fix you or I will leave. I'm trying to be brave enough to tell the truth before it curdles inside me and turns me into a version of my dad I swore I wouldn't be. If you're going to comment, don't write me a script for how to be perfect. I don't trust perfect people. Tell me if you've ever stood in the exact middle of loving someone and resenting the way they love you. Tell me if you've ever confessed a small, ugly thing and someone held it without taking a picture. Tell me if thanks for telling me helped. Tell me if you have a better sentence. I'll pocket it like a lucky coin and rub it when I want to hold a lighter. That's where I'm at. Not cool, not dramatic. Just a kid with a frayed rope, trying not to set it on fire to feel warm. And to the person who posted, who might read this even if she won't admit it, I love you. You hurt me. I hurt you. We did both at the same time because that's how people who know too much about each other tend to do it. I'm going to try to be someone you don't have to subtweet. You do not have to be my police. Maybe later we'll sit on the floor again and argue about which flavor of chips is objectively the best and laugh until we both snort. Maybe we won't. Either way, I'm writing this down because otherwise it lives in my throat like smoke and I'm tired of coughing.